Having spent the last few weeks going over just about every interview you've done and all the profiles, I found that one of the adjectives
Oh, you. That's a long week.
No, well, it was...
Did you see your family? I mean,
No.
Do you have a family anymore?
No, not anymore after that. No. It was actually very interesting because, you know, there are certain, obviously, recurring things that you say, but also that interviewers or profilers would say. And one of the things in terms of a complimentary adjective is there's sort of a sense that you're timeless. There's something about you. You could have just as easily been dropped into a movie with Trevor Howard or, you know, Peter O'Toole or somebody as you are today. And
the blessing of having a weird face. Somewhere between an otter and something that people find vaguely attractive. Or just an otter, which is vaguely attractive.
Which is right, that's right.
Yeah, it's, I mean, on these hottie lists, I just kind of go, well, it doesn't make any sense because I was nowhere near the 1,000th hottest face when I started out. So I know a lot of it's projection, which is kind of flattering about the work, I suppose. But what I'm saying all that for is, I started out and I went, yeah, no, I'm not a typical beauty. So basically, I've got a long neck and a long face. That's usually period. That's usually some kind of inbreeding weirdness. So I'll run with that. I'll wear some high collars and get on a horse or two. I'm fine with that, but not all the time. Not all the time. Sometimes I'll just get a collar in a 21st century drama and turn it up, as you'll notice I did in Sherlock. So I kind of the otherworldly. I mean, I had a great English teacher called Martin Tyrrell. Oscar, you remember him? And he said, "It's weird. You remind me of William Blake." And I went, "What?" The hallucinating visionary poet of the Romantic era. And he went, "Yeah, well, no, it's just you're quite an old soul." And I went, "Oh, I kind of like that." And it kind of an old soul. Did someone say what? As in not a new soul, an old soul, old smelly leather soul. And I kind of ran with that because I was fortunate enough to grow up in England, and you're surrounded by your heritage there, and it's a very deep, very long, very kind of old heritage. I mean, not my heritage, but like the heritage of the land and the culture. And I went to school where there were buildings that were 400 years old, and those were the new ones, It was kind of inspiring, and it meant that whatever I was doing in my context, in my time, I could always see what the past had evolved into and realize that we're not all that far away from that. We really aren't. And it's important to be able to recognize it and to be able to honor it and learn from it as well. And I can't remember your question.
No, that was great. That was good. No.
It's very hot in here. Okay.
Okay, so another thing that I sort of jumps out to me about your work, from Sherlock to Tinker Tailor. I mean, you've talked about with Tinker Tailor that it was a particular thrill to work with Gary Oldman as somebody who you'd really looked up to, but also sort of mask shifting, I think was the word you used, that any actor worth their salt would enjoy the opportunity to be putting on a variety of masks.
I mean, yeah, it's a gift. The idea of being a spy for an actor is kind of a gift. I mean, I was half hoping I might get tapped on the shoulder by MI5 or 6 or one of them. Well, because seriously, I mean, it would be a great double bluff that. There's a bit like Guy Burgess going around parties going, "I'm a spy," and no one believed him, and of course he was. But it's kind of, because we're so sort of, showy-offy as actors, so it'd be the worst kind of subterfuge. But the point is, we shift masks. We kind of do that. That's kind of what we do. It's part of our job. So the idea of playing someone in one moment, in one context, and being utterly different in the next, it's meat and drink for an actor. And to do that subtle amount of it, and also in Le Carré's brilliant world of extraordinary characters and a very real Thomas Alfredson and Hoyt created smoke and nicotine, that's the same, and alcohol, just dank, grey, yellow, sort of bad, scraggly TV toned, ungraded film world that film was. I mean, you could smell it. It was very visceral, that experience of stepping back into the past. So it felt that there was a contact with an emotional realism to spying, which is sort of again meat and drink, because it's more profoundly something that's recognizable, because they all have human stories. They have things to sacrifice. They all have loves or passions or prerogatives and moral compromises, and also the sheer boredom of it, the drudgery of it, the betrayal of it all. these constantly shifting sands of loyalty and understanding and diplomacy, and that's a very rich canvas for an actor to play with. So I was thrilled when I got cast in that, and with that company of actors, I mean, you'd have to have done really badly to have done a bad job, because it's just everywhere you look, you're being inspired, you know. And Gary in particular was just a joyous individual to work with, and you know, a man at the height of his game again. I think in that film, just incredible performance.
So we talked about films about history or about moments in history. Then, you know, here's someone comes along and says Sherlock Holmes, which has probably been made into more plays more shows or films than just about anything.
Yeah, it's the most dramatized character of all fictional time, I think.
I mean, so somebody says, let's do it again. We're gonna update it for the 21st century. You know, was it immediately clear to you that this was something that was worth getting involved with, or when did it become clear to you that it would work?
Well, the sort of evolution was that I heard about it and thought, that sounds like an excuse to, you know, re-enfranchise something to make money. It could be a bit cheap and cheesy. And then I found out who was involved, and I thought, it's definitely not going to be cheap and cheesy. These guys are very good writers. I knew Stephen. My mum had done Coupling, a few episodes of that, Sarah Alexander's mum, and Mark Gatiss was a huge hero of mine as a student with League of Gentlemen. And so I knew the stable was good, and I knew their involvement in Who, and I knew what they'd done with that. And I thought, well, I've got to read it, and I read it, and I completely fell in love with it. And then I went to meet them in a flat in Holland Park. Sue Virtue's mother, Beryl Virtue. Once Sue Virtue was called Beryl Virtue's daughter, but now I think it's the other way around. She's so extraordinary. But they're both extraordinary. And Beryl is a massive titan of the industry. I'm sure she's done many of these conversations. She's a legend. And I don't think I'd ever met her before. So she came, and it was her flat. I wasn't aware of it. I knew I was meeting Sue, Mark, and Stephen, and to read for it. And I think one of the scenes I did was definitely the one in the first episode where I get John to come back to the flat, and I just want him to type a text for me, and I'm sort of reposed with the steepled hands, and he's just disgusted that I've said it's urgent, it's important, can you make it? And he just comes over and basically is a secretary for me, in the study in pink. And so I was doing the scene, and just before, I remember Beryl coming in, and she had tea and biscuits, and I sort of turned to Sue, and I went, is that Mrs. Hansen? And she went, no, that's my mother. Okay, it's not a good start at all, okay. Forget that happened, start again. Cancel and continue, and I did. I made them laugh a bit, and it seemed to go well, and you know, I knew Mark as well as an actor. We were in Start of a 10 together, and we really got on. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I thought, God, this could be great. I would really enjoy doing this. Just as I was getting on my scooter, I got a call from agents saying they're really, 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 really keen for you to do this. And I put my helmet on. Well, I finished the conversation first, otherwise that would have been painful. And I said, Christ, this could be really exposing, and in a good way. But I thought this is a very iconic character, and whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, there's going to be a lot of focus on it, as there always is with any incarnation of the great consulting detective. So I took a bit of a deep breath, and I thought, do I want to do this? Is this the moment to do that? Because I kind of, you know, there'd been other things hovering around that I might have pursued or might have done, and I just went, no, I kind of want to carry on doing the work I'm doing, which is there. It's getting recognition, but it's, you know, it's leading to the next job, and I was fine with that. I thought, this is a really big sort of step into the limelight, and then I thought, well, it's really good material. I could have fun doing it. We did the pilot. It was great. The BBC loved it. Said 1.5 hours, and then that was it. And
as far as the reach of this, I mean, I've read estimates. They initially thought maybe 2-3 million people are going to watch this. It was like it blew away from almost the beginning expectations as far as how many people cared about what you were doing. Was that very gratifying to see?
Well, we were all around at Sue and Stephen's, and we watched it. I'm trying to remember if I don't think Martin was there at the time. I think he was doing a job, but we all watched it, and I was really aware of this immediate audience response. I don't engage with social media. I have done a Reddit, but that was it, and I really enjoyed it. But for other reasons we could talk about in a minute, that would take over my life and probably ruin it. But I was just amazed at how vocal and immediate this response was, and it was pretty good. It was all very good by and large, I think. I mean, they didn't read me any of the bad tweets, and So these tweetings and bloggings and just everything just came alive. There was and that's very rare to have a live experience with an audience when it's a television program. It was a new experience for me. And I was literally half expecting to sort of, walk, outside to get the train back from Kew and just and see like banks of photographers or for news reporters to be abseiling from helicopters. And I go, what is it like to be in the new hit show? And thank God that moment was delayed. But it was very overwhelming in a weirdly distanced kind of way, because obviously it wasn't in person. But we were very aware of it being a bit of a hit. Yeah, we were thrilled. We still are.